Here's everything you might have missed in the Suicide Squad trailer. While the stroke of midnight on Wednesday might belong to Marvel's God of Mischief, this Tuesday morning was dedicated to DC Comics and their Suicide Squad shenanigans. In a cheeky yet ultimately confusing way to roll out a new trailer for James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, Warner Bros. Released it as a skippable pre-roll ad on platforms like YouTube before they finally posted the unlisted video to the Warner Bros. Pictures channel. Now, of course, they also gave a bunch of journalists, including Nerdist's own Rosie Knight, early access to the trailer, which you can watch for yourself and read all about on Nerdist.com. And to make your life just that much easier, I'll link to that in the description below. But back to the matter at hand. This incredibly colorful trailer gives us our best look yet at the explosive action, chaotic camaraderie, and kaiju-sized starfish kookiness coming our way on August 6th, 2021. While we're not spoiling anything that isn't already in the trailer, if we're right about any of our speculation, or if you prefer to know less than Blackguard or Blackguard if you're a correct person knows about dogs, then ask yourself this important question before proceeding any further.
Are you in or out?
Set to the sweet strains of Rain by Grandson and Jesse Reyes, this trailer gives us a sense of the narrative stakes of the Suicide Squad beyond us just suspiciously eyeing each and every character in every scene to make a bet to ourselves whether or not they're actually going to live to see the next one. Once again, Viola Davis's Amanda Waller is putting together a team of ne'er-do-wells from Belle Rev Penitentiary, shoving tiny bombs into their heads and then Task Force Xing them to do the impossible.
So that's it? What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?
No, Deadshot, I'm sorry, you're not in this one. This time around, Robert Dubois, better known as Bloodsport and played by Idris Elba, seems to be our window into the action. Bloodsport is imprisoned for shooting Superman with a kryptonite bullet, something that actually does happen in the comics in John Byrne's Superman Volume 2, Number 4 in 1987. Don't worry though, the Man of Steel made a full recovery, although maybe with fewer spleens than before, at least according to James Gunn. With Bloodsport's daughter, played by Storm Reed, facing an impending court date, Waller's using all the leverage she can muster to get Dubois to join her murderer's row of literal murderers. Things come to a head in Belle Rev's command center where Bloodsport is about to go straight up John Wick on Waller with a pencil, and we know from previous trailers this is where Steve Agee's analyst character John Economos monitors the impending kaiju chaos about to descend on the fictional South American island of Corto Maltese, which first debuted in 1986 as The Dark Knight Returns number 3. Next, we get brief introductions to the entire team. Flula Borg is the German Olympian turned Green Lantern villain who seemingly died in the comics more time than Kenny has on South Park. Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang, one of the few returning members from the first Suicide Squad movie. Pete Davidson as Blackguard, a Booster Gold villain who wields an energy mace and shield. Mei Ling Ing as Mongal, who's apparently not used to hanging from helicopters. And Michael Rooker as computer hacker Savant. And of course, there's also Weasel, who's apparently based on Bill the Cat from Bloom County, according to James Gunn. John Cena as Peacemaker, a man who loves peace so much he's willing to kill for it. Danielle Melchior as Ratcatcher 2, a new version of the Batman villain believed to be the original's daughter. David Dastmalchian as the depressed yet dangerous Batman villain Polka Dot Man. King Shark reading an upside-down copy of philosopher and psychologist William James's classic The Varieties of Religious Experience. And of course, the shining star of the DCEU, Harley Quinn, who has zero qualms about sharing her bowel movements with the rest of the class.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late. Had to go number 2.
Rick Flag, on the other hand, absolutely has qualms as the team loads onto a Task Force X-branded tilt-rotor aircraft that may or may not be a V-22 Osprey, presumably taking them to Corto Maltese. But first, Blackguard will have to consult with Nathan Fillion's TDK, the detachable kid, about whether or not Weasel is actually a dog or a werewolf. He's a child murderer, that's what he is. He kills kids. Now, between Harley Quinn shooting a rocket launcher and the general dysfunction of this team, the squad is going to have their work cut out for them. In Empire magazine, we learn that part of the team's mission is to destroy a Nazi-era prison and laboratory named Jotunheim, where political prisoners were held and experimentations took place, at least according to producer Peter Safran. Now, side note, Jotunheim is the mythical realm of the giants in Norse mythology, what up Loki, and it's the Nazi prison which first appeared in 1987's Suicide Squad number 1, where it was a terrorist base in the fictional Middle Eastern country of Karak. Here, though, Jotunheim is home to something known as Project Starfish, which sees the murderous dictator Silvio Luna and Peter Capaldi as the galaxy brain telepath The Thinker, experimenting with what we know to be Starro the Conqueror. Created by Gardner Fox and Mike Sekowsky, Starro debuted in 1960's The Brave and the Bold number 28, a villain so powerful it brought together the entire Justice League for the very first time in DC Comics history. Inspired by Ray Cummings' 1930 pulp sci-fi novel Tyranno the Conqueror, Starro is the leader of the Star Conquerors who hail from the aptly named Star Planet. Starro and its species are mind-controlling intergalactic starfish that psychically enslave entire planets to turn them into these massive nests so they can nurture their next queen, the mother star, and then start this whole bleak process all over again. Based on what we've seen in previous trailers and shots of Ratcatcher 2 and Rick Flag here with the Thinker, they're probably going to take Capaldi's character hostage and use him to help them take down Starro and dismantle the remains of Project Starfish. Now, inside the prison, we can see people in cages with Starro's spawn latched onto their faces, being psychically controlled by Starro. So perhaps they thought they could control Starro with the Thinker's psychic abilities, but as I'm sure we'll see, that's probably not going to last for too long, at least not as long as Peacemaker is on the case.
Starfish is a slang term for a butthole.
After that, we see Polka Dot Man getting funky at a club, King Shark getting angry, Harley Quinn 360 no-scoping everyone in sight, an explosive exit from Jotunheim, and Ratcatcher communing with her little chompy boys. Now, perhaps the best shot of the trailer is King Shark flying high above Corto Maltese, latched onto by Starro's massive tentacles as this gigantic monster turns King Shark into a flying fish. Most importantly, whatever you take away from this, maybe it's that we should all take a vacation for ourselves, because just look at how much happier Polka Dot Man is after his trip to Corto Maltese. Dude is smiling. We also see shots of an aquarium shattering on King Shark and Harley and likely Ratcatcher giving the preposterous number of swimming rats we see here, and then there's a particularly disgusting shot of Starro blasting out its little Starro spawn, presumably to then latch onto the soldiers and members of the Suicide Squad in Corto Maltese. After that, there's a news report featuring Bloodsport, King Shark, and Ratcatcher fighting Starro that notes how the meta-human monster battle is spurring political unrest. And in the lower right, you can see the network bug for GBS, which is likely Galaxy Broadcasting System, the cable television arm of Galaxy Communications, which is spearheaded by Superman media villain Morgan Edge. In between the kaiju chaos, though, we get a nice moment between Ratcatcher and Bloodsport before Harley Quinn's flowery dance of death. We then see Peacemaker, Bloodsport, and Rick Flag tumbling around a vehicle as they try to make a daring escape, which then connects to a shot earlier in the trailer of the three of them emerging triumphantly onto a beach. Last but not least, we learn that Ratcatcher's Pixar-inspired codename is Ratatouille, and that Nanaue, aka King Shark, takes his surveillance job very seriously and very literally.
Bird.
Nanaue, stay off the comm.
And there you have it, folks. That is everything we spotted in the Suicide Squad trailer, and with just a couple months to go until this movie's in our lives, I, for one, can't wait to see what they have in store, and we'll keep you up to date over on Nerdist.com. But in the meantime, folks, let us know, what did you think of this trailer? Did you spot anything that we missed? And what's the real goal of Project Starfish anyway?
It's a slang term for a butthole.
Let us know in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, stay tuned to Nerdist.com.